What is going on YouTube? It is your boy QKG, and today I have something a little bit different that I kind of been thinking about for a minute. So actually, over the past maybe month or so, I can't lie, I've been having a lot of different games that I've been experiencing and playing on the Nintendo Switch. Coming into 2018 has been a very good year for the Switch, and especially because E3 is right around the corner, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a lot more news for the games that are going to be coming out around the holiday season. So just buckle up them pants and clench them butt cheeks for that. So as of late, I actually got a hold of Kirby Star Allies, Super Mario Odyssey, which I've been playing a ton on, and of course Fire Emblem Warriors, which you've already seen your boy chopping it up on. Yeah. So one thing, I just want to go ahead and start out with Kirby Star Allies, because the interesting part, I've actually never played a standalone Kirby game. I have played Smash, which I am very familiar with the Kirby character, that he can suck people up, swallow their powers, and use their powers against them, which I always thought was a cool idea. So when it comes to Star Allies, the really weird way that I decide games, like, honestly, if you go up to Target or GameStop, they got like stations, especially Target. They have a station where you can like play demos of Kirby, Odyssey, Fire Emblem. Like, they had a ton of games that you could have tried out. Now, when it comes to like certain games, like even a South Park game, which you kind of know what you're getting into, the Fractured Butthole, you kind of know what you're getting into when it comes to those kind of games. But for Kirby, it was a little bit different. I just sat through, was playing for a minute, then I played the first level. I was like, yo, this is kind of fun. So I actually ended up picking it up that day, but I'm not gonna lie, I got some thoughts about Kirby. Not that it was a terrible game, but I do got some criticisms about Kirby. So first off, Kirby is set up kind of similar to like some of the older Mario games where you go from like world to world. I'm pretty sure if you've played Kirby, you know exactly what you're getting into. But this game is more focused on like a co-op system, which means you're going to be going through this journey. You don't have to go through it alone. You can actually play with, you know, up to 4 people, which is pretty good. But also, you can play this game by yourself, so your allies will actually have certain abilities, so you'll have to capture certain allies. Like if there's a big ice block on the way, you throw it on a fire person nearby, and then that fire enemy, which is now your friend, will actually melt that ice block for you. So it's kind of like a really simple puzzle system in a way, so you got to use certain powers in certain times. And then also, the story is pretty self-explanatory. It's right to the point. You're going against like these 3 witches that are like fire, ice, and thunder, and then you're going against like the big one at the very end of the game. I'm not going to spoil too much of that, but overall it's pretty straightforward. It's not too much stuff here and there. There's not like side missions or anything like that. It's really set up like kind of like a classic Mario game where you're going from world to world and you're just trying to get the highest score on that world as possible. That's literally all it is. So one thing that really caught me off guard about this game was its combat system. The game, Kirby ain't no punk. Like, I've learned that my favorite combination is the staff combination. Like when you suck up a staff enemy, you get their powers, but you can actually merge those powers with certain elemental enemies. So if you capture and you have, let's say, a fire and an ice and a wind person in your party, if you hold your weapon up, so if you hold up on an analog stick, they'll actually merge. They'll spit some fire on your weapon, and now you have a flame staff, or you'll get an ice staff, or you'll get a thunder staff, or wind staff. You can do that throughout the game, and it gives those a little extra oomph to your hit, which is actually a really nice touch and actually makes the game a little bit more interesting, especially because not only does it just add, like, you know, it makes your actual weapon look different, but it actually gives it a little bit more different moves as well, which is also a nice touch. Now, these Nintendo games as of late have been looking really beautiful. I have to say that Kirby was an enjoyable experience when it comes to visuals throughout the entire game. Now, of course, it wasn't like some groundbreaking like Crisis 3 graphics, but the junk looked good. That's all it is to it. Didn't look gross, no frame drops. The entire gameplay experience was smooth. I couldn't ask for more when it comes to the technical side of Kirby Star Allies. However, there is a little bit of hold on. But there's one other thing. When I was playing Kirby Star Allies, I'm just gonna have to burn through these negatives as quick as I can, just because of the fact that Kirby Star Allies, it was a very, very enjoyable game, but it was a very, very easy and short game. Now, when I was playing through it, I didn't remember seeing any difficulties. Honestly, like, I burned through the game so fast. It literally took me a day and a half to beat. Literally, it took me a day and a half to beat. I was burning through stuff that quick, but it wasn't like I was missing, like, the big buttons and anything else. I know there were at least, like, 10 levels that I missed that stuff. But you can also go back through there and play it. But if you burn through the game, it'll feel extremely short. So please, whatever you do, make sure you at least go through and get everything, do every puzzle and whatnot. Other than that, it's going to feel extremely short. And then the last boss fight was actually really easy. Just because you have 4 different characters that are coming along with you. Actually, if you even played this stuff with 4 people, it would probably even be easier. Because the CPU was smart, but it wasn't as smart as an actual player. So that's one thing that I've noticed. It probably could have been even faster. And then that's literally my only complaint with the game, is that you can burn through it very easily on accident. But if you go through and you do everything, of course it's going to feel a little bit different if you're a completionist. But it did feel extremely short. And then the last boss fight, although it was a very climactic ending, and it made me feel like I was watching Dragon Ball Z at the end, but it was still really on the easy side. Which is okay, because they also had a lot of after game content where you can actually do a boss speed run of the game, and you can fight all the bosses all in one go, and you have like a set amount of like health boosts, so you can't just heal up after every single one. I think they give you like 3 or 5 of them, and there's a ton of bosses in the game, so you got to make those last. And you can actually do a different run of the game where you're actually playing as the preset characters and not as Kirby. But when you're going throughout the game, instead of you finding like keys and puzzle pieces, you're finding like attack boost plus like 3 or speed boost plus 4 or anything of that nature. So it makes the game a little bit different, and that also is based on a co-op system as well. So you can actually do that as well. So the game has a lot of after game content, which is great. But the main story, when you burn through it, if you're just trying to get to the end and you're just going through all of these levels, it's going to feel extremely short. But other than that, Kirby Star Allies was a very enjoyable experience. This was my first Kirby game to play in general. Never even played the GBA games or anything like that. I would definitely have to give Kirby Star Allies a 7 out of 10. The game was an enjoyable experience. The only downside to it was you couldn't go online and play with certain people. I don't know what that experience would have felt like, but I do know that the game itself was fairly easy. The game felt a little short, but the game was still fun. I had an enjoyable experience, so I couldn't give it a lower score on that. But the game was just overall fun, and for my first Kirby game, it was fairly decent. I don't know what the next one's going to be. I have no clue, but I definitely will be looking forward to it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I got more reviews cooking up pretty soon. If you want to see any reviews on any other games in the future or any games that are coming out, leave them in the comments down below, boy. I can definitely try to get to them. So I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. This is your boy QKG, and peace out.